How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so great to be talking. Well, I'm so excited to be talking to you because I feel like I've heard a lot about you. I feel like looking at your wall is almost a glimpse into your personality, which I'm like really excited for this interview.
Oh, I'm excited too. Yeah, it's so nice to meet you.
It's so nice to meet you. So you were saying those pictures on your wall are actually pictures of your friends that you were able to hang out with before this terrible pandemic happened.
Yeah, I have a lot of really good memories up on this wall of some really ratchet nights.
Where did the ratchet nights happen at?
I mean, here I can give you like a little tour.
Please. Okay, so let's pick out a couple of pictures right here. What's this one right here?
We're on the floor of a bar. Oh, nice. This was a party in London. I used to travel to London a bit to like write there, and my friends threw me a Thanksgiving, and they totally just like guessed because they're like, we know this is like an American holiday, and they tried like cooking a turkey and everything. It was so sweet.
Was it good though?
It actually was pretty damn good. Like for London Thanksgiving, they did it well. Oh, this is my best friend Julio, who's my main producer.
Nice.
And him with his green card.
I am loving this right now. I love that we're like standing on your bed, you're showing me pictures on your wall. Like this is the perfect day to do this. Where are you from? Are you from LA?
I'm from Northern California. I'm from like 7 hours north of here.
So let's talk about like you getting bit by the music bug. When did you even realize that this is something that you wanted to do?
I've always known, but I mean, I've just been doing music since pretty much I was like straight out the womb. But I fell in love with singing and playing piano and poetry when I was in like 3rd grade, and then realized that I could combine all of them into songwriting, and it was just game over. I knew that's what I wanted to do with my life from a really early age. So
do you remember that first song that you heard and you were just fell in love with it?
Yes, it was. Oh, it was a Kelly Clarkson song, I'm pretty sure. Wait, what was it? It was Breakaway.
Oh, that's a great song.
So good. I remember hearing it on the radio with my mom, and we only heard like the last 15 seconds of the song, and I was just like, Mom, I need to go get this song. So we turned the car around and we went to Borders Books, and we went into like the CD section and we sang like the chorus to the guy who worked there, and we're like, do you know this song? And he was like, no. And so then months went by, and then I heard this girl in my class singing that song, and I was like, what is that song? And she was like, Breakaway by Kelly Clarkson. And I came home and I was like, Mom, we're going to Borders. And we got my DVD or my CD, and I just fell in love with like that album. I forget what album that was, but it was one of her first albums. It was so good.
First of all, I'm so glad that you actually went to the store and picked up the song, because me and my ratchet self, I would have went online, downloaded it, and then burned the CD.
Okay. I was way too young to even like know how to rip music. Like LimeWire was not on my radar at the time.
Did you say LimeWire?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you just brought it back. I cannot tell you how many viruses affected my computer from LimeWire.
Oh, I remember in high school too that my brother sent me a LimeWire link to Coldplay's Milo Xyloto album the night before it came out. And I downloaded it on LimeWire, but I'm like such a music geek that then the next day I bought the album twice on iTunes because I wanted to support the band.
That's great. Well, it's almost like foreshadowing what was to come, because you know you want people to stream and go out and buy your music.
True.
It's almost like the circle.
Yeah, the karma.
Exactly.
Will come back somehow.
Do you remember the first song that you wrote?
Yeah. I mean, I used to write classical pieces actually on the piano. Because I took classical lessons starting at age 4. And before I kind of discovered that I could also sing with my music, I would come home and I was supposed to practice classical piano for like a half an hour every day. And I would start practicing, but then I would just start playing my own little musical creations. And my mom would be like, from the kitchen, she'd be like, Annika, I know that's not what your piano teacher wants you to play. But I started off just by writing these classical pieces. And then I figured out that I could write lyrics too. And it'd be really interesting. I don't even know if I have recordings of those songs, but I had this binder where I'd write all my lyrics. And I wrote like hundreds and hundreds of songs but I didn't have a way to record them. And so I'd write down all like the intervals of the melody and be like, na, 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 na. I'd write 5, 3, 2, 3, 1. And I had this like binder of basically code. So that's somewhere in my parents' house.
I would love to see that. I would
probably
love
look
to
very
see
like
that.
serial killer-ish.
No, it's like a masterpiece. You're writing like, and first of all, for you to be, so young doing it and classical at that, I feel like that's so hard to do.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely weren't like following all those like anal classical rules that I eventually learned in like college music theory. And I was like, oh, I was doing so many parallel fifths, like breaking all these rules that Beethoven made or whatever.
But you made it hot. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I made Beethoven hot. Yeah.
Did you low key get upset when your mother would be like, "That's not what your piano teacher is teaching you"?
Yeah, I'd be like, I want to do my own thing, and then they make me practice these like Debussy pieces that. In hindsight, now I'm really glad they made me, stick with classical piano. I think I had to take lessons for 10 years and I kind of hated it the whole time. I initially liked it, but then I was so over it. But my parents kept forcing me. But it got to a point where I was like 16 or 17 and I was writing my own music for hours every day. And they're like, okay, you know what? She's doing her own thing. At least she's still doing music. We're not going to force her to keep playing piano. Like
I love that.
Piano.
That's so dope. So when this was happening, you were how old?
I started I started writing my own music, like, that I sang at around 3rd grade. And then I think I started to take it like pretty seriously in high school. Like that's kind of all I did. Like I would skip lunch to go, my school had these like practice rooms, like the music room, and I'd skip lunch and just go in the music room and I was writing music like in all my free time.
That's really interesting because you were talking about how you were writing poetry early on and how that basically snowballed into writing songs. Would you say that that's similar, like writing poetry and writing songs?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that songs are just kind of poetry into sound, or like it's poetry with another added dimension. And that's why I love it so much is that, like we can also listen to a song in another language and have no idea what it's saying, but we can still feel something from it. And I feel like that's what you add to poetry to give it more depth. Yeah, I just absolutely love. I mean, that's why I'm becoming kind of obsessed with production too, is because there are just so many layers and like so many things you can add to a word to give it different meaning.
Is there one person in your life right now that you can write a song, you can record it, or write a song for someone else and have them listen to it, get feedback from them, and change it up? Or what do you do when you get that feedback?
I mean, I have a few really close collaborators that I love working with. Julio, that guy on the wall. My friend Dan, and these 2 other guys, Parker and Tony. And I feel like we're always kind of bouncing ideas back and forth. I'll come up with something alone on guitar and I'll send a voice memo to Dan and he'll, will send me like some other thing back. And there's always definitely a process of collaboration. Or I'll start an idea and I'll call up Parker and be like, okay, I came up with half of this chorus, but I really need your genius on the other half. So yeah, sometimes it's a process alone, but I definitely have people that I love and trust and that can just like bring different things to the table that I wouldn't think of.
I love that you're not putting that strain all on yourself, because I feel like writing a song is probably, to me, it would be the hardest thing ever. Because I feel like I can't do poetry. I can't do any of that. So it'd be the hardest thing ever. So to put that all on yourself, I feel like would be super uber stressful. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, sometimes I feel that pressure, and sometimes the pressure is good. Like, because I have so many talented collaborators around me, sometimes I'll sit down to write a song alone and I get halfway through and I'm like, oh, this would just be so much easier if I had Tony here to bounce the ideas off of. And I kind of want to call him up and just have him help me out with it. And I'm like, but there's also this kind of, it's like a different kind of catharsis when you can make something entirely alone.
Right.
And it's like there's an element of like honesty to that's unparalleled. And so I love working with my collaborators, but then there's also this kind of magic of making something like entirely myself.
I love that. There is a part in your bio that I absolutely love. It says, most people keep personal, embarrassing, and crazy thoughts to themselves. You aren't one of those people. Are you the type of person that loves to overshare?
I'm such an oversharer. I have like, when I meet somebody, I feel like I have to kind of like gauge what their level of comfortability is, because sometimes I'll start saying things and I can tell they're just like, why is this saying that? And I'm like, I'm making them uncomfortable because of what I'm sharing with them.
Like, what is the craziest thing in a new situation that you've overshared to someone?
Oh my God. Like,
just think, because I know there's probably a couple of them. Just think about the one thing that you were just like, why did I say that?
I don't know. Oh my God. I've definitely gone on like dates and just like said where the guy's just like, what? And I'm like, oh, you're not for me. Like,
yeah, because they should have just rolled with the punches and be like, word, just hyped you up. Whenever you overshare something like that, you gotta hype that person up. Like, for real, get out of here.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of a specific example or nothing that I don't even know if I want to say right now. But
you know what? We'll talk after the air, off the air.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about the song "Sucks Being Sober."
Sucks Being Sober.
I love the original title.
Thank you.
Sucks Being Sober, and I like it. And for the record, I feel like we all have daddy issues. Tell us about it. I know I do.
Who doesn't have daddy issues? If you got a daddy, you got daddy issues.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Sucks Being Sober.
That song is kind of like my anthem for life. I mean, okay, the title's definitely abrasive, but if you actually
going with it though, like you were talking about, like, you know, people that you went to school with that are like married and stuff like that. Like I get it.
Oh my God. I remember seeing on Facebook that this chick I went to high school with was getting married and now she has a kid too. And like, I'm happy for her. She seems like she's like doing well, but at the same time, I'm just like, oh my God, like I am just starting to process like my teenage years with my therapist. I'm so not ready to have a kid right now. But yeah, Sucks Being Sober is kind of just like my anthem for everything I believe in, like just marching to the beat of your own drum and living life how you want to live it. And like, if other people are telling you things that you don't vibe with, like, then screw those people. Just like do life your own way, whatever that means. You know, if that's the 9 to 5 because you love your 9 to 5, then that's absolutely amazing. But if you don't like if you don't like the 9 to 5, then follow your dreams, follow your heart. Yeah, we all die, then it's over. So sucks being sober.
Right. You know what? Do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Don't live for anyone else because they're gonna live for, you know, for themselves.
Yeah.
What sparked that song?
So I've been talking about this in interviews, and I really hope that my aunt does not listen to any of these. But I went to Thanksgiving last year, pre-COVID, and or I guess now 2 years ago. Oh my God. And I was sitting next to my aunt, who I'm not super close with. I kind of only see her at holidays, like once every couple of years. And I had just gotten off tour. I think I was in the middle of tour still. Yeah. With Millennium, and I had like just performed at Madison Square Garden, and like things are really picking up in my career. And she's like, so when are you gonna get a real job? And I was like,
what?
What am I like,
what?
This is my job. And she didn't get it. She was like, no, like once you're done with the whole music, like running around, whatever, when are you gonna get a real job? And I was like, I don't think you understand. Like,
what does she want you to do? Work in like a cubicle with an office? No.
Yeah, like actually, she was like, no, but this is like your little pipe dream. Like
she's ridiculous. Please tell me somebody checked her at the Thanksgiving table.
I didn't even say it. I was just like, no, I tried to spell it out for her. I was like, I don't think you get it. Like, even if this doesn't work out for me, I will be a waitress when I'm 50 years old and I'm still going to be writing music, like perform, like this is what I love. It's what I'm going to do. And that's it. There's no plan B. There's no second guessing. Like, this is my dream and I'm going for it. And she just like couldn't process that. And I came back and I was just so like angsty and frustrated. And I was just like, oh my God, like what is with this pressure to just like fit into what society tells you to do or tells you what you should be? And Sucks Being Sober came out of that anger.
Well, you know what's interesting? I feel like my family's so dramatic. So somebody at that table would have said something like, I cannot believe you just said that to that child. Like, how do you tell somebody, you know, and then they'll turn the tables on her? When are you going to get a real job? Like
Oh man. Yeah, my family's definitely more reserved than that.
Oh, absolutely not. Black Thanksgiving is probably the best Thanksgiving.
That's that.
So let's talk about what are you working on next?
My next single is called Love Sucks. And it
So
really
you have
does.
a theme.
Love sucks. But I wrote it right after a really devastating breakup. And the song was really heartbreaking to write. And it's basically it's like that feeling when you know that it should be over and that you shouldn't be with that person and you shouldn't go back, but you're kind of like looking for any excuse to just call them up. And I wrote it in a place of real pain. And I hope you can hear that in the song. I mean, it's just like an honest story of how I was really feeling at the time.
It was almost like having the relationship on life support, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah, it's like, when there's still like a little bit of a heartbeat and you're like, maybe there's a chance it'll work out. Just that I tried to really encapsulate that feeling of desperation when you're just so heartbroken.
Well, I cannot wait to hear it.
Yeah, I hope everybody cries. That's my goal. Everybody was dancing with Sucks being sober. Now I want them to cry.
I don't like to cry.
Then don't listen to this song.
Make me cry. Come on now. Over there again.
I'm also working on my EP right now. So Love Sucks is the second song, and we got some other songs I'm finishing up right now that I'm just like so absolutely excited about. Yeah, I can't wait to put it out in the world. I'm just like, I'm so ready.
Well, I had a pleasure. It was a pleasure chatting with you this afternoon. And as soon as this is over, please come to the station because you're right around the corner and we can hang out. We can go get a green drink or something like that.
Hell yeah.
And just have a good time, okay?
Cool. It was so nice chatting with you. You're amazing.
It was so nice chatting with you. It was a good time. And thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.